One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. To let me be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hear his battle cry. A metal mayhem that will never die. With engines roaring, he paves his way. A legend in the making, day by day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Man, it was a brutal morning this morning. Great to see everyone in the chat. So right before we started, about 10 minutes prior to us starting, unfortunately, I lost power. I think they, where they switch over the transformers or whatever. So I had to reset everything. And then another terrible thing that just happened is as I'm going live and I started live, everything's going good. The Facebook stream fails. So now it's boom, it dropped. Anyways, it is what it is. Listen, we've got a big morning ahead of us, like a humongous morning. Sometimes we have, just a normal kind of morning. Sometimes it's super busy. This Monday morning, definitely busy. First off, let me start off the top here. Happy Memorial Day to all. And listen, that's something that I'm just saying that if it weren't for those men and women that did the ultimate sacrifice for our country, man, it's just, I'm very grateful and thankful for those that served and put, whether they actually did lose their life or not, man. I'm just going to say thank you to all the vets that have ever served for our nation. All right, so this big morning, we have many, many stories. I think we're up to 13 stories this morning. Iran deal stalls, as well as White House shooting that happened over the weekend. And then we have Rubio in India. He's also that happened over the weekend. So let me give you guys the chronological timeline of what we're going to be discussing this morning. A lot of shit coming out. So let's go ahead and figure this out. So as you guys know, Tulsi Gabbard resigns as director of national intelligence. That happened, I believe, on Friday. I think it was Friday or Saturday, but I posted it in the Discord where I showed everyone oh shit, look at what's going on here. Then we have what we know about the acting director of national intelligence, the one that's going to be taking her place, right? Then we have some breaking news that happened a couple days ago with the explosion on New York, Staten Island's, explosion on New York, Staten Island, injured 16. And I believe it was some sort of shipyard or something like that, but we're going to get into it. We'll have the specifics for you in a minute. Then we have SpaceX Starship V3 mega rocket explodes after successful test launch and splashdown. So we have that footage for you guys. I mean, it actually blew the fuck up. So we're going to get to that in a minute. Then, of course, as you guys know, we try to do our best to follow any of the stories that we talk about. And so this is being one of them. Kyle Busch, cause of death revealed as sepsis caused by pneumonia. It doesn't get worse than that. Sepsis caused by pneumonia. And remember, I was telling you guys, I'm I don't even know what happened. No reports are talking about it. They're just saying that he kept going into the hospital because he was very ill. But that was it. So we actually have the update on why. And then we have United States. This is as of yesterday, by the way. United States, Iran close to reaching deal to end war, officials say. And then don't worry, we got a lot of updates regarding Iran. And then another thing that was breaking yesterday. Trump says deal with Iran, quote, largely negotiated. And then we had shots fired that happened over the weekend, as you guys know, over there at the White House. So it was breaking. It was breaking when it obviously happened. Shots fired near White House. Says that the White House was on lockdown on Saturday evening after dozens of shots were fired nearby. Secret Service and FBI are on the scene. And, what I do know is, well, hold on. Let me finish reading. It says Fox News reported that the Secret Service took down the shooter. And yes, that's exactly what I was about to get at, is that he was unalived. He was definitely killed for what he was doing there. And then back to the Secret Service, suspect shot and killed in shooting near White House. Bystander also shot. So there was a bystander that unfortunately got struck as well. And I don't know the exact where that person's at right now. We're going to find out if hopefully they're not critically injured. Then we have Secretary Marco Rubio delivers remarks in New Delhi. That's over there in India. U.S. and Indian officials hold joint press conference. So that's I'm going to give you that to you guys this morning as well. 18 hours ago, this is being reported, but this did happen, I believe, on Thursday, Friday, something like that. I think it was Friday. But nonetheless, damaged California chemical tank has potential crack, could relieve pressure, quote unquote. Now, the actual report is that there is an actual crack in the tank, but they're saying that could relieve pressure. So I don't know what they're getting at on that title, but nonetheless, this was over there. Let me go ahead and read it. It says, new information comes out as fired officials who spoke this Sunday. Evacuation orders reportedly remain in effect for more than 40,000 people in the area as officials determine their next steps. Now, this is over there. It says, according to our the correspondence, Thursday at GKN Aerospace, located on 12122 Western Avenue. That's where a 34,000 gallon storage tank carrying or containing methanol or methyl methacradal, so MMA, a toxic, highly flammable liquid chemical used to manufacture acrylic plastics, became severely overheated. And yes, the top level that it can get to on heat on the actual measurement of that tank is 100 degrees. And it's way past, it's at 100 degrees, but it keeps climbing. So it's very much a risk of not only, well, it's going to fail. That tank is going to fail. And I believe that, I'm trying to remember where this is at. I know it's over there in Southern California. I can't remember if it's Westminster. I don't think it's Westminster, but we'll get into it in a little bit. But it is over there in Orange County, California. Okay. And then 15 hours ago, this is as of 15 hours ago, Middle East latest, U.S. and Iran signal progress on Trump's peace deal. Yes, that is actually a good thing. I'm hoping that we actually can come to some sort of deal. It's the art of the negotiations, art of the deal, right? Viral teen takeovers spark chaos nationwide. It says a dangerous new TikTok trend called teen takeovers is prompting strict law enforcement action across cities in the United States. Man, these TikTok challenges and all these TikTok trends and shit, it's just bad news. And then as of just 2 hours ago, Iran war update, U.S. and Iran nearing a peace deal. Says President Trump says he will not, quote, rush into a deal, which he said, I think, yesterday or the day before, to end the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. All right, so that is what we've got this morning. So before we get into like all the crazy madness, let's go ahead and do our call to actions real quick, and then we'll get into the crazy shit. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you guys are on the vertical side. I very much appreciate it. It's free to do so. And also hitting that subscribe button is free. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then of course Saturday morning for members only, man. Now, speaking of members, please consider becoming a member starting only at $3.99 a month. Making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time Breaking News. And also we have a Discord server for all of you legends where we continue the conversation after the show. Make sure you guys join in. the actual link for it's in the video description down below. So check that out of any of our live videos. And last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, and membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, we have these platforms that are scrolling around the screen. At any time, you guys can donate to those, and I get 100% of the proceeds. And of course, I'll read out loud your message just like a super chat. So I've got my email up. We're going to be scanning always. We're always trying to get better at that. So, all right. Great to see everyone in the chat, man. Always appreciate all your guys' support, love, respect, all of it, man. We got Barbie in the building as well as Steve Easy, Rabbit of Chaos. We got Gary as well. Naomi in the building as always. Always appreciate you. We got Brother So Loud as well from the boondocks of North Carolina. Always appreciate it. We got Wildcard as well, my man. Good morning to you. Let's see. We got Sick Bastard, my man. And thank you for the raid this morning. I very much appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed your show. I definitely did. We got Steve Posey as well. Good morning. Good morning. We got Pops. Yes, sir. We got Easy Frank as well as Carrie, my man. And happy birthday to Carrie. It is his birthday today, so great to see you in the chat, bro. We got GEG as well. Good morning, good morning. We're scrolling down as fast as humanly possible. Let's see. We got Joseph up in here as well. Scrolling down. We got Buckeye as well. And let's see. There we go. The Smoking Auditor comes in with the 2 months, saying 2 months of free membership gifts. Awesome. Yes. And then you re-upped yourself. I very much appreciate that, Smoking Auditor. Thank you very much for that. And he also gifted one out. Thank you for making it rain into the chat. Not only helping me, but you're helping someone else in the Insane Wheels family, my man. Let's see here. All right, let's go. All right, let's go and get into the madness this morning, ladies and gentlemen. What we're going to be first talking about is Tulsi Gabbard. She resigns as Director of National Intelligence. Let's go ahead and figure out what's going on here.
This is now live on their channel as well, that Tulsi Gabbard is now resigning as the Director of National Intelligence. And so, of course, you do know that this is one of the latest people within the Trump administration who is now going to be stepping down from their position since President Trump has been in office during this second term. And so to continue to provide you just a little bit of context about what we know about Tulsi Gabbard, this was an exclusive given to Fox News that Tulsi is resigning from her post as the Director of National Intelligence. And she says this is to support her husband through his battle with, quote, an extremely rare form of bone cancer.
Wow, I didn't actually know that. That was the first time I'm actually hearing the exact reason. I thought there was maybe an internal conflict. I think that's what most of us probably thought. And maybe there was. I don't know. But nonetheless, she's saying it has to do with her husband, and he has a very rare form like disease.
This is to support her husband through his battle with, quote, an extremely rare form of bone cancer.
Bone cancer. Oh my God.
According to Fox News Digital.
That's
Gabbard
terrible.
Did notify President Trump during a meeting in the Oval Office today. Her last day as the director there in the Office of Director of National Intelligence is expected to be next month on June 30th.
All right, so that was a very, very quick update, just so you guys know what's happening there. Now, what we're going to figure out right now is what we know about the acting Director of National Intelligence, who's basically going to take her place. So let me go ahead and bring that up for you guys, and we'll go ahead and figure out who is taking her place.
Here with the Deseret in D.C. saying this. Trump says that Aaron Lucas, who is currently Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence, will be acting DNI after Gabbard resigns.
Aaron Lucas.
So that's the latest information. And so my colleague Christy Mattino will be joining us in just a few moments to give us a little bit more insider information. And so we'll continue to keep you updated here. But again, I wanted to bring up this statement that we have from President Trump as well. And so there you go, the President Trump statement that we have there as well. And so again, my colleague Christy Mattino will be joining us in just a few moments to break down the very latest and give us a little bit more insight into what we know about this resignation and who's coming next. But President Trump's statement on Truth Social saying, unfortunately, having done a great job, Tulsi Gabbard will be leaving the administration on June 30th. Her wonderful husband, Abraham, has been diagnosed recently with a rare form of bone cancer, and she rightfully wants to be with him, bringing him back to good health as they continue a fight through this tough battle together. I have no doubt that he will soon be better than ever. Tulsi has done an incredible job, and we will miss her. Her highly respected Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence, Aaron Lucas, will be serving as Acting Director of National Intelligence, signing it there, President Donald J. Trump. And so once again, we had been waiting to see when we...
Now, what I do think from at least what I picked up from the very small report that we've already listened to here, it sounds like that Aaron Lucas actually worked underneath Gabbard. So that makes sense that he would kind of success into
Hear
it.
from President Trump on this. And to learn a little bit more about Aaron Lucas, I now want to bring into the conversation my colleague, Christy Matino. Christy, again, breaking news, Tulsi Gabbard stepping down, Aaron Lucas. What have you learned in the last few moments about Aaron and his background and what we could potentially be watching here?
It's a good question.
Yeah, Christina. So I'm sure a lot of people at home are wondering, who is Aaron Lucas? I dug into some old articles, really not that old, pretty recent actually, just from last year, from the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. And I do have some information just on his background that I wanted to share with our viewers here. I have two separate articles, and I wanted to start with this one. And this is from when former DNI now, Gabbard, welcomed Aaron Lucas as Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence. And this was
Principal Deputy.
just about a year ago at this point. This was back in July
Whatever
of
principal
2025.
means.
And I'm going to read this verbatim again. Once again, this is coming directly from that press release saying former Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard welcomed Aaron Lucas as Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence following his confirmation by the U.S. Senate. And this was a quote from Gabbard saying, with over 20 years of serving our country in the intelligence community, I'm confident in the experience and skills Aaron brings to our leadership team at ODNI and the critical mission we are focused on. Going on to say his experience spans nearly every aspect of intelligence work, from his service as an analyst and covert operations officer in the CIA to his expertise in national security.
Well, shit, I'm an analyst at this point.
Policy during the first Trump administration and serving as chief of staff to former director of national intelligence. Aaron understands firsthand the work of intelligence collectors and analysts because he has done it himself. I'm confident he will help us bring much needed transformational change, transparency, accountability, and mission focus to the IC. Now, once again, for our viewers just tuning in, this was a press release from a year ago as we were digging into just some archives here of really who Aaron Lucas is, as he is now the acting DNI director, just announced there by President Trump on Truth Social just a short time ago. But some more background on him. Lucas spent more than 20 years serving in the CIA as an analyst and an operations officer.
Damn, he served in the CIA for 20 years as an analyst. Holy shit.
Deployed to regions across the world. During the first Trump administration, he served as chief.
Dude, that is so funny and true. Oh my God, Steve. Now that you said that, I can't unsee it.
Of staff at ODNI. He was also the deputy senior director for Europe and Russia at the National Security Council. Now, prior to his work in the IC, Lucas worked at the Office of the United States Trade Representative, as well as Cato Institute, and that's where he met his wife, with whom he is raising 5 children. Lucas is an Arkansas native and a proud graduate of Texas A&M and the George Washington University. I do have a bit more information here as we continue to cover this breaking news. Some of this you may have just heard in what I just read, but as this is developing, we have people joining by the minute here. I do want to—
Of course. So at least you guys know who he is. Now, we've got a humongous morning and we have to fly through. Okay, so there was an explosion on New York, Staten Island, injures 16 people. This is a big deal. I believe it happened over there at some sort of like shipyard or whatever, but we're going to go ahead and bring it up and figure out the story together. Let's go ahead and do that now.
Welcome back to Live Now.
Oh, real quick, we got Texas Gidget in the chat, by the way. Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat. Hopefully you're enjoying the morning. I definitely know that we are. Happy Memorial Day, by the way. We got Johnny Reno saying he has a nice round head. Yes, sir. Good morning, Johnny Reno. Good to see you as always. All right, let's get back to
From
this.
Fox, I'm your host, Anna Marsik. Let's go right now out to a live look. This is in New York as we are following a fire and an explosion at a shipyard on New York City's Staten Island. This has injured at least 16 people, including 3 with serious injuries. The New York Fire Department said somebody reported 2 workers were trapped in a confined space at the dock at about 3:30 p.m. Friday, and responding firefighters found a fire burning in the basement of a metal structure and dock, said Joanne Marino with the fire department's press office. Right now, a live look there on your screen, as it looks like we are losing that live feed right now, but we wanted to be sure to bring that to you as this was some breaking news as this fire and explosion at a shipyard in New York at
Yes, that's very true, by the way. Steve Posey says, remember, if there's ever a day to fly your flag at half mast, it's today. Yes, sir. You know, and if mine's not already down by my father doing it, then I'll go outside and do it myself, because I also have a big flagpole in the front of the property here.
Island. This expose there coming from New York Attorney General James saying, I am—
What's up, Pablo? Good morning to you. Great to see you.
For the Fire Department New York firefighters and everybody injured after the explosion in Staten Island today. Thank you to the Fire Department of New York for their swift response and for protecting New Yorkers
Well, what was the explosion, though?
day. So this live look that we just brought to you coming out of Staten Island as at least 16 people.
Okay, the actual number of people, by the way, it says the Fire Department of New York reports 1 civilian was seriously injured, 2 firefighters were seriously injured, 2 firefighters were moderately injured, 9 firefighters were injured minorly, and 2 EMS workers were injured minorly. All were taken to the nearest hospital. It is not known what caused this explosion, at least within this report.
Have been injured, including 3.
Yeah, that's terrible. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. Another explosion that happened over the weekend. SpaceX Starship V3 mega rocket explodes after successful test launch and splashdown. And now it really did blow the fuck up. And we're about to show you guys that footage here in a second. But first, we got to get the money part over with.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Yes, that's very true. It's factual.
Denied.
All right, let's go ahead and bring this up and we'll quickly get into it. Here we go. 3, 2.
All right, welcome back in Alive Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Take a look at this. SpaceX's Starship 12 rocket had a successful launch Friday night before concluding its test run around the Earth with a planned fireball explosion as it splashed down in the Indian Ocean. Let's watch this.
Look at this. Look at this. But that's after it landed.
So this
now, I think that I don't know where it was
planned.
landing, if it was landing straight in water, but usually a lot of the touchdowns are on a barge of some sort. But it looks like it's kind of just in the water. I can't really tell.
Of the launch itself. This was the largest and most powerful launch of this rocket's kind, by the way. It took place at about 6:30.
And it sounded, from the looks of it, I mean, just from their reaction, it looks like that was supposed to happen. You know,
Eastern time. And it was deemed a success by SpaceX. I'm going to just keep reading about this. I'll let you guys watch the looping footage of this explosion. I mean, this is wild stuff.
Yeah, it is wild. Look at that bomb. Look at that. That is crazy. I paused it at perfect timing. We got Brother So Loud coming in with the 10 spot, by the way, saying Happy Memorial Day to all the ballers. Yes, sir. Happy Memorial Day to all. Always appreciate you and everybody. Very much appreciate your guys' engagement. So Loud, thank you for the 10 spot. Making it rain into the chat, my man. Thank you very much for that.
The planned launch for this, you might have been watching this on Thursday night. They tried to launch this rocket on Thursday. They ultimately ended up aborting it. SpaceX confirmed that the fireball eruption was planned since they don't plan on reutilizing the experimental spacecraft. Those of you that watch these launches, often SpaceX launches especially, you might have seen a SpaceX Starlink launch or two. Usually you see the boosters come back down to Earth. They land themselves very gently on a pad, and then they can be reused for later launch.
Yep, it's usually a small barge that is a pad.
This one going out in explosive fashion following the launch. The aerospace company, which was founded by Elon Musk, began critical trials before NASA can use the third version of Starship to launch astronauts to the moon and beyond, according to the New York Post.
Wow, so they're using him as testing grounds for the Artemis 3 when they do that operation or whatever they call that flight. Okay, so we've got an update on Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, cause of death revealed as sepsis caused by pneumonia. Now, when this original reporting was going on that day that he unfortunately passed, they didn't know why he was actually, or why he died. No one knew. The report was just he kept going in and out of the hospital with a very serious illness or serious something, and we didn't know what it was. And so now it's coming out that it's been revealed as sepsis caused by pneumonia. So that's way unfortunate. Let's go ahead and bring that up as well. We do our best to follow all of the stories that we ever present. So that's why we're presenting this today.
We want to share with you a bit of breaking news as it pertains to NASCAR driver
Sad.
Kyle Busch. His family has officially announced his cause of death as severe pneumonia that progressed into sepsis, resulting in rapid and overwhelming associated complications, according to a statement that was released by the family. I do want to put this up on your screen. That is the statement that was put out there saying this. The medical evaluation provided to the Busch family concluded that severe pneumonia progressed into sepsis, resulting in rapid and overwhelming associated complications. Dakota Hunter, who's the vice president of Kyle Busch Companies, said this in a news release that the family received that medical evaluation just earlier today. Busch, of course, is a two-time NASCAR champion. He died at the
So it sounds like the family didn't even know about it to that level.
Age of 41 on Thursday, just one day after passing out in a Chevrolet simulator. For some context here, we do want to
He passed out in a simulator, specifically a Chevy simulator. That's interesting.
you know that sepsis is considered to be a life-threatening medical emergency that occurs when the body has extreme overactive response to an infection, causing the immune system to damage its own tissues and organs, according to the CDC.
Oh,
Typically,
that's
the immune
miserable.
system does release chemicals to fight off pathogens like bacteria, viruses, or fungi. But with sepsis, the response goes into overdrive. The results can cause widespread inflammation and a microscopic blood clot that make those blood vessels leak. And so Busch was thought to initially have had a sinus cold while racing at Watkins Glen back on May 10th and radioed to his team saying that
So he thought he just had a cold, is being reported there. He just thought he had a cold. He didn't. So this must have happened within a very, very short amount of time.
needed a shot from the doctor after the race. However, he did bounce back to win the Truck Series race at Dover last weekend and finished 17th in the All-Star race on Saturday. Busch, who was preparing to race this Sunday at the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway, was testing in the Chevrolet racing simulator at Concord on Wednesday when he became unresponsive and was transported to a local hospital there in Charlotte. That's according to several people who are familiar with the situation. I do want to put up some pictures and videos.
Wow, 5150. I've never really dealt with like serious pneumonia, anything. You know, I've had it where I'm coughing that shit out, you know, but not serious. Sepsis hides its symptoms until it's too late. Wow, I didn't know that shit either. And then Matthew says, I wonder if he had the clot shot. And it sounds like to an extent that he did, but I don't know. Obviously, you know, when he's hospitalized at that point, I'm sure that they did, but that's of course assuming.
On your screen as well of the late driver Kyle Busch. But it was during this emergency call that was placed late that afternoon that an unidentified caller calmly told the dispatch, I've got an individual that's got shortness of breath, very hot, thinks he's going to pass out, and is producing a bit of blood and coughing up some blood. The caller went on to say
Coughing up blood? Oh, hell no. That's like that's the biggest red flag you can probably get.
Busch was lying on the bathroom floor inside
Either that or blood in the stool too, obviously.
of the complex and told the dispatch that he is awake, according to audio that was provided by the county sheriff's office. The man then gave directions where the emergency responders should go and that if they turn off any sirens upon arrival. We do know that other NASCAR drivers have spoken out, saying a fellow NASCAR driver said that he knew that Busch wasn't feeling well very recently, but saying, yes, won't go into any specifics, but that when he ran that.
It sounds like, at least from the timeline that she gave, it sounds like he went in and out of the hospital 2 or 3 times. That's what it sounds like. And it also sounds like that it happened pretty within like a week and a half, maybe 2 week span.
Truck race last week, those thoughts were honestly kind of erased out of my mind. Another driver did say that they were running multiple races in the same weekend can be difficult on a driver's health, but most racers do not want to miss a race for the fear of being replaced. It is important to note that Kyle Busch is a very prolific race car driver. In fact, he run over 234 races across NASCAR's top 3 series over his 2-decade career. That's more than any driver in history. All 39 drivers in the field for tomorrow's race will be with an all-black number 8 decal on their car to honor the late Kyle Busch. And so we did want to bring you this update here on Live Now from Fox, as his family has now revealed that he died from complications due.
Yeah, I mean, if his family is just finding out, obviously we're just going to find out too. Anyways, sad story there, at least because remember when we reported on that originally, I'm like, well, what was the cause? Like what happened? And nobody knew. So even the family didn't. Unfortunately. So, okay. So, as of, it looks like maybe Saturday night, because it just says 1 day ago, United States and Iran are close to reaching a deal to end the war, officials say. Now, I do have complete updates regarding Iran this morning, actually. Now, this is from, it looks like Saturday night. And the reason why I'm even presenting this is to let you guys know how we got to what we're getting to this morning, because it does actually look somewhat promising that we may end up seeing a deal of some sort. So we'll figure that out here in a little bit. We're going to stick with, following this story. Of course, it's what we do. But first, let's go ahead and bring this up so that we can get a little bit of context. We don't even need to play the entire thing, but because it's very short anyways, but I do want to see what was being reported by officials
2026 Atlantic hurricane season
and or big outlets.
and forecast. Now, we are going to step away in a moment for a commercial break, but we're bringing you some
Not
breaking
right
news
now.
right now surrounding the conflict in Iran, as multiple news outlets are reporting that the conflict could be moving toward some kind of negotiated endgame potentially, but nobody credible yet is saying it is definitely over. Take a look at this X post there.
Yeah,
on
DLN, of course. I've got a fucking wild cat in this house, so of course she tears up this well, luckily she doesn't tear up any of my actual furniture, but the only thing that she will tear up is my fucking chair. So
your screen coming from Trey Ying's. This was about 2 hours ago, saying update. President Trump is expected to hold a call with regional countries on the situation with Iran. Leaders from nations including Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, and Pakistan will join that call. That is what a regional official told Fox.
nice try, human life. Actually, if you look at anything about who I am, you would take all of that back. You know what I mean? So listen, I'm involved in politics. I'm involved in a whole bunch of shit. Like in my local government, I just ran a very successful campaign. I don't know what you're talking about.
Fox News. That post coming about 2 hours ago from Trey Yates.
What's up, Mark? Good morning.
Coming in moments ago saying, new, the call was very positive. Good progress is being made. A regional diplomat told Fox News regional leaders were supportive of the progress and of the breakthrough President Trump achieved with those talks. That coming from Trey Yingst moments ago as we are learning these new developments. And this X post on
Human life. Are we on television right now? No. And by the way, we use many different sources. We use all sorts of shit. This is what we do Monday through Friday. Just because you don't do what I do doesn't mean you got to fucking hate on it. But hey, you do you, boo.
Screen coming from Phil Stewart saying,
remember, you're
Iran
on that
and
side of the
Pakistan
screen.
Have sent revised offer to
You're watching
us
me.
to terminate the war, open the Strait of Hormuz. Two Pakistani sources aware of negotiations tell Reuters. The U.S. response to the latest proposal expected by Sunday. Two Pakistani sources aware of negotiations say. That coming from Phil Stewart earlier today. And of course, all of this just coming into our newsroom. So we wanted to bring this to you. I'm going to put up some video there of that conflict in the Middle East on your screen. This is what the AP is reporting right now. They're saying the United States and Iran are close to agreeing on a memorandum of understanding aimed at ending the war. Two regional officials and a diplomat said that today, as the United States has weighed a new round of attacks on the.
And this video, by the way, was given out by Central Command.
The Islamic Republic. Iran had signaled narrowing differences in negotiations with the U.S. after Pakistan's army chief held more talks in Tehran, and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had told journalists in India, where he currently is, that there is some progress being made and that there could be news later today. The officials and diplomat expressed hope that a final decision on the Pakistan-prepared draft could come within 48 hours as both sides review that. They spoke on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to speak with the media. They did say that U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance and envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner played significant roles in helping bridge those remaining gaps, and that the Arab state of Qatar played a key role by sending a senior official to Tehran, Iran, to support Pakistan's mediation efforts. So, of course,
so loud. If you're talking about the hater in the chat, well, that's just random internet, dude. No one knows who the fuck he is. He's a nobody. And meanwhile, I'm just smacking on my big ass.
Man, motherfuckers talk all the shit they want. But you see me, I'm sitting up here snacking on this big ass sandwich, not getting a fuck. Kiss my dick, motherfucker.
You know what I mean? Shit.
This news just coming into our newsroom, and we wanted to be sure to bring that to you. Once again, this coming from Phil Stewart saying Iran and Pakistan have sent revised offers to the U.S. to terminate the war, open the Strait of Hormuz. Two Pakistani sources aware of those negotiations telling Reuters U.S. response to the latest proposal is expected by Sunday. That is according to two Pakistani sources who are aware.
Now,
of those
we do have that update because that, that sounds like this was on Saturday night, like I suspected. Then we had an update going into yesterday and even now going into today, which is like, I think our latest report on Iran is just 2 hours ago that we have pulled up for you guys. First, let's go ahead and see what Trump says. Trump says deal with Iran, quote, largely negotiated, which is actually a W. This is in regards to Sunday. This came out Sunday right here. And then we have the update for you guys after we get through some other stuff that happened yesterday because we're catching up on the weekend and up until current time right now.
Okay, we are going to break out of the president's remarks. We don't typically break out of the president's remarks in the middle of a sentence, but we have some breaking news to share. Let's get straight to this. President Trump with some news on the Iran war. We know that the ceasefire negotiations have been happening behind the scenes, and we know that there's been a lot of developments in the last 24 hours. This is the latest. President Trump saying, I am in the Oval Office at the White House, where we just had a very good call with President MBS of Saudi Arabia. And then he also mentions the names of leaders of a number of other Gulf states, as well as Jordan as well. He says this is all concerning the Islamic Republic of Iran and all things related to a memorandum of understanding pertaining to peace. The president says an agreement has been largely negotiated, subject to finalization between the United States of
No, I did not see that, Steve. I'm going to have to investigate that. That's interesting.
America, the Islamic Republic of Iran,
Good morning,
and
Miss
various
Lotus.
other countries as listed. Separately, President Trump says he had a call with Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu of Israel, which likewise went very well. Final aspects and details of the deal are currently being discussed and will be announced shortly, in addition to many other elements of the agreement.
Man, I really hope that they can get a peace deal done. That would be nice.
The Strait of Hormuz will be reopened. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Trump says on social media. So there's a couple of things there. Now,
that was on Sunday, okay? That was yesterday. Now, real quick, let's see if there's any other posts within this. Okay, he just brings on somebody. I don't care about listening to the analyst. I'm the analyst. I don't need to hear what he's got to say, honestly. All right, let's go ahead and figure out. We're going in chronological order here. There were some shots fired over the weekend, I believe yesterday at the White House. So let's see, it says May 20th. No, it was Saturday. That's right. I'm getting my days mixed up. But nonetheless, shots were fired near the White House, and Secret Service did take out that gunman. But he also there was a bystander that was, injured during this. Someone else got shot too. So let's go ahead and figure out what's happening here.
We've been tracking this.
And this is actually the topic of what we put on the thumbnail, because we always pick one of whatever story we're talking about to put on the thumbnail, as you guys can see right here. The lockdown of the White House. But yes, and Secret Service out there. Anyways, back to
situation at the White House. Shots fired nearby the White House. And 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue is on lockdown as a result. It looks like Fox 5 in D.C. just came on with some live coverage as they report on this situation. Let's listen in live.
Yep, definitely true. Another lunatic down.
It looks like these might be simply live images.
Oh, wow. That's crazy, Gary. On a separate note there, liberal judge turned the White House shooter loose last year. Oh, wait. It's actually regarding this guy. Oh, wow. He got hemmed up on something, and then the judge, an activist judge, was like, hey, you don't have to serve any more time. Go back into normal society.
Coming through. So,
wow.
Let's just kind of take a step back here. While we're talking about this, while we were listening into President Trump, we did get official reports from the Associated Press and from Fox News talking about this situation. Let's go to our live feed. And let me just tell you what we're working with here. We've got 4 different vantage points of the area.
Are you serious, Gary? He tried the same thing last year? Bruh. That is a legitimate bruh moment.
This is one vantage point. Our understanding is that this is happening on the intersection of 17th and Pennsylvania. And the White House is on Pennsylvania Avenue. So this is roughly the area of the intersection. This is a second angle of that same area. We've got this vantage point at the White House Correspondents' Row area. So this is known as Pebble Beach. It's an area where White House reporters will do their live reports from. You might recognize that area. And then we've got our usual live look outside the White House, although you can't really see much from this vantage point. So let's stick with this shot.
Cheers, Seymour. Good morning to you, by the way. Happy Memorial Day.
We're hearing from the Associated Press and from the AP that the White House was locked down after as many as 30 shots were fired in the vicinity.
30 shots? Dude, motherfucking unloaded a mag. Why?
Law enforcement authorities are responding to the area.
Well, if he unloaded 30 shots, maybe it was the shooter, the gunman, that actually accidentally shot a bystander. Or maybe he purposely meant to. I don't know. But that's crazy.
FBI Director Kash Patel says that authorities are responding to the area. Journalists that were working at the White House reported hearing a
Oh, Steve Posey, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to send 5 for me to say that. But I very much appreciate your attempt, though, there, Steve Posey. Yes, in honor of our fallen brothers. That's absolutely true. And listen, we're paying our respects today.
Series of gunshots, and then were told to seek shelter inside the press briefing room where Secret Service officers prevented them from leaving. This all happened to reporters that were reportedly on the north lawn of the White House. This is the north lawn, by the way. So if any reporters were working in this area when the shots rang out, they were rushed inside and they were rushed to a building and to a room that they very much are familiar with, the White House press briefing room. There were no immediate reports of any injuries, according to the Associated Press. On X, Secret Service said that it was aware of reports of shots fired near 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest, 1 block from the White House, and was working to corroborate the information with personnel on the ground. In a social media post, FBI Director Kash Patel said that officers were responding to shots fired and said that he would update the public as they're able to. It's like our camera's being shifted around a little bit.
And don't worry, I'm not going to play this whole thing. I just want to get a little bit of this because our very next story is, Secret Service suspect shot and killed in a shooting near White House, bystander also shot. And this looks like the latest update that we've got on this entire story, which it is. But I do want to get a little context here, though.
Live cameras, and it looks like they're getting ready for a live TV report there. So let's go to our second angle. And let's pull up the audio. I'm curious if we're able to hear anything. Yeah, so we just hear nearby news reporters doing that. It says that the Secret Service took the shooter down. Now, we don't have much more context than that at the moment, but that's at least one more piece of information. Chad Pergram.
Patrick, no, it happened on Saturday.
Shooter has been taken down. And just to reset here, the White House, at last check, is on lockdown after as many as 30 shots were reportedly fired near the White House earlier today. Correspondents reporting...
Damn, 30 shots.
...in the area had heard multiple shots fired near the Eisenhower Executive Office building.
He just mag dumped. All right, so let's go ahead. That was the little bit, because he just admitted that they don't really have any more context at that moment. So let's skip ahead now to the latest report on this. Suspect shot and killed is in shooting near White House, bystander also shot. Let's go and bring that up. Also, real quick, what we got to do is we got to embrace our fuck ups real quick.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace thy process. You must embrace.
Denied.
All right, here we go.
All right, you're watching live now. I'm Austin Westfall. Let's get to the breaking news. We've been following developments after the White House was temporarily on lockdown after a shooting happened nearby. Fox News' chief congressional correspondent Chad Pergram has been sending out updates. Here's his latest. He says the U.S. Secret Service says shortly after...
And no shit, VF or VW, VH, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm on a different tab. Nonetheless, this, if you don't know what the fuck this is, we do Monday through Friday reporting of news, world news, geopolitics, all of that shit. On Monday morning, in particular, we speak about what happened over the weekend, okay? So listen, I don't give a fuck what you think is old news, blah, blah, blah. It's irrelevant to me and what we're doing here.
PM on Saturday, an individual approached a Secret Service checkpoint in the area of 17th Street and Pennsylvania Avenue Northwest. A preliminary investigation indicates that as the individual approached, he removed a weapon from his bag and began firing at posted officers. Secret Service police...
That's hilarious, yo, Steve. Yeah, I find it very ironic when people love to talk shit, but meanwhile, it never comes from any other YouTuber or anybody that's actually of substance, ever. It never happens. It's always some fucking weirdo, and it's nobody. It's a nobody every single fucking time.
Officers returned fire, striking the suspect, who was transported to an area hospital where he later died. During the shooting, a bystander was also struck by gunfire, It remains unclear whether the bystander was struck by the suspect's initial gunfire or during the subsequent exchange of gunfire.
Okay, so that's where our question is, are we going to figure out, well, who hit the bystander? You know, was it done from the original shooting of that 30 rounds that the dude let off? Or was it done by the Secret Service?
No injuries were sustained by Secret Service personnel. The president was at the White House during the incident, but was not impacted. The incident remains under investigation, the Secret Service says. So, Chad Pergram with that statement from the U.S. Secret Service. Let's get to this live image of the scene. Let's pull up the audio on this for a moment.
Yes, and by the way, you guys don't have to like everything that's going on around the world here in our nation either. But listen, you guys can like the video for me and what we're doing here. So I very much appreciate it. Make sure you guys double tap that screen and appreciate your engagement. We'll skip ahead here.
Okay, so welcome back into Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. We do play out live raw feeds, and we wanted to give you a little bit of what we were seeing and hearing out there. Multiple cameras around this.
He gave a live feed like that so he can go take a leak. You know what I mean? You need to take a piss real quick, you know, so.
Developing a situation. I want to check in with Fox 5 DC's Regina Ureta. You just saw her reporting on Fox 5's 8 p.m. news. We have her here with us as well. And Regina, I just want to ask you what
Steve Boese, if you weren't you weren't obviously that observant this morning. She was in the background earlier, and you guys saw her walking around actually. So sorry if you missed it. That's on you.
Seeing out there.
Yeah, hey, Austin. Well, as you can see, just right behind me, still a very large police presence. We're here off of Pennsylvania Avenue and 18th Street. It's been like this for the past 3 hours since we got those reports that gunshots were fired outside of the White House. So we're seeing Secret Service, MPD, as well as the FBI. We do know that they've been coordinating together to get more details and confirmation about what exactly happened. And as you've sort of been reporting, we know that Fox News has talked about a little bit of what happened. And so we know that this all unfolded around 6 p.m. There was this individual who fired 3 shots outside of the White House. The Secret Service returned
3
fire
shots?
Between that.
Hold on. They were saying 30 shots. You just said 3 shots.
6 p.m. There was this individual who fired 3 shots outside of the White House.
3 shots.
The Secret Service returned fire. Between that fire exchange, another bystander was hit. We know that bystander, as well as the shooter, they both are in critical condition. We're trying to get more information about that as well. We also are in critical condition, as well as the shooter. They both are in critical condition.
Oh, that's terrible. The bystander is also in critical condition. Oh.
We're trying to get more information about that as well. We also are currently monitoring social media. We do know that the FBI has been posting that they will be trying to update the public as soon as they can. But I do want to mention we're just a few blocks away from the White House outside perimeter line. We know that shooter did not make it into that perimeter.
You would be wrong, Frank, because she absolutely was. That's just saying that you weren't observant enough.
Line. He did not go inside. It was right outside of the White House. But there is a lot of people who walk around there, tourists, residents. And so hearing those gunshots, we still don't know how many bystanders were there at that time, but definitely a very scary situation, very alarming for the people there, especially on Memorial Day weekend. This is a holiday weekend that despite the weather, there's still a lot of people walking around this area. I also want to share that we do know that the President Donald Trump, was inside the White House at that time. Journalists were near the press pool, briefing room. They were outside getting ready to go live when they heard those gunshots. Authorities immediately told the journalists to seek a shelter as they placed the White House on lockdown. Again, very limited information, but I'm just going to step out very quickly just to show you what it looks like here. We have law enforcement here off of 18th Street. Again, DC police, as well as Secret Service and the FBI. We have other members of the media here as they continue to hear more developments. We are also trying to get more information, but this is just, again, a month from the White House Correspondents' Dinner incident, where something very similar, journalists also heard gunshots right outside of that dinner. So to know that, journalists were here again, and as our jobs, we just go on live and continue to report the news, and we're trying to get more information for you and share it to the public. Austin?
Have you had a chance to speak with witnesses? As you mentioned, lots and lots of tourists around there. Have you had a chance to speak with any?
Witnesses, we are trying to get people here, but really the individuals that we've run into, they seem to be just tourists who got here in the aftermath and are asking the same type of questions. We are trying to change locations, but as I'm telling you, basically 17th, 18th, and 16th Street, all of these areas are blocked off. Police have placed a perimeter line, so we can't get much further than where we're at right now. But as soon as we get any witnesses or anybody who can get more details, if they were near those gunshots, if they heard it, of course, we want to talk to those people and get more details of what might have unfolded just around that time.
And have you heard of a press conference scheduled tonight at all?
No, we are working, and I know.
Interesting, because I was wondering why this is the latest update that we have on this. Because I would expect exactly what Austin just said was, are you guys expecting any type of press conference, anything planned for this evening? And she said no. All right, so that gives us an actual reason why we don't have that. So anyways, we're going to move on real quick. Secretary Rubio delivers remarks in New Delhi. Okay, this is over there in India. Let's go ahead and bring this up and quickly get into what he is speaking on over there. They're holding a joint press conference over there in India.
A very warm welcome. And it's been a phenomenal visit already, and it's only been a day, and we have so much more work to do. And it's an honor to be here with all of you in this important visit to one of our most important strategic partners in the world. And I want to highlight that point for a minute. We obviously have relations, and we work with countries all over.
So if you're talking about the shooter of that last story, both of them, the latest report, at least on that, is that both were in critical condition. So
the world, and we need to, just as India does. And we have all kinds of alliances and partnerships with countries that we work on, sometimes on discrete and individualized issues, other times on broader issues that involve one region of the world or another. A strategic partnership is something very different. It's something much broader than that. A strategic partnership is when your interests as two nations are aligned and you work together strategically to solve those problems. And the list of issues that we work together with India on, the breadth and scope of them, is what highlights the fact that India is an important strategic partner of the United States, one of our most important strategic partners in the world. It begins with the fact of our shared values. We are the two largest democracies in the world. And so obviously that in and of itself begins to align our interests, simply because our leaders respond directly to voters and people on a regular basis, which means I have to go back and justify to the American people every decision we make, and the president has to do the same on why it's good for our country, and our counterparts here in India have to do the exact same thing. You have to respond to the people of India about why your partnership with the United States, or your stance on any issue for that matter, is to the benefit of your country. I imagine this is true in every country in the world to some degree, but it is particularly true for democracies. Democracies respond directly to their people, and you have
it doesn't work like that for North Korea. It doesn't work like that for Cuba.
to respond constantly. In democracies,
what's up, Raspberry? Good morning.
You have a free and open media. By the way, you have a lot of media. We have media in our country. You guys have a lot of media, and that means a lot of scrutiny, a lot of attention. But that begins to align our interests immediately, because we both recognize and have mutual respect and understanding that every decision we make, every announcement we make, everything we work together on, we ultimately have to go back and justify it to our voters, to our people, the people who put us in these positions to begin with. The second point I would make is that our partnership from a strategic standpoint is not limited to a regional one. Now, clearly, there are regional issues in the Indo-Pacific that are important to both of our countries. But the ability, increasingly, as we have conversations, we are talking about strategic interests that align beyond simply the region. Whether it's your visit last week into the Western Hemisphere, we have a lot of alignment. Whether it's our mutual interest in what's happening currently now in the Straits of Hormuz and beyond. And then on the topics as well. If you talk about the topics that we have a mutual interest on, both countries are strategic allies on the idea that access to critical minerals and supply chains are an essential issue in the 21st century. The over-concentration of reliance on a single source for anything, particularly things that are vital for our economies, is one of the great challenges of the 21st century. And we are strategically aligned on that topic. On the issue of terrorism, both of our countries have suffered, both directly and indirectly, because of global terrorist networks. There is a strong counterterrorism alignment as a result of that. On innovation and ensuring that all of the promises of new technologies and new advances in the 21st century, all of them come with risks and rewards. Every technological advancement that's made individuals and societies more productive have always come with risks associated with them. Managing those risks and maximizing those benefits is one of the great challenges of the 21st century. And there's a tremendous strategic alliance between our countries and agreement on that point. Likewise, on the unimpeded flow of commerce, especially in international airspace and international waters. This is true in the Indo-Pacific, ensuring that there's a free and open Indo-Pacific, but it extends beyond the Indo-Pacific. We share as a strategic value the fact that no international waterway, no international airspace should ever be used or nationalized by any country in the world, and that should never be accepted as a new normal. Another area of strong strategic alignment. And we could go on and on. The bottom line is that the opportunities exist to work together because not just our shared and common values and our people-to-people ties, but because our nations are strategically aligned on all of the key issues that will define the new century. All of the great challenges that are before us now in the modern era, we are strategically aligned on. And the final point, and this, I mean, is no disrespect to any other country in the world, but you can have a strategic alliance with countries. But there are only a handful of countries in the world that have the ability to actually do something about these big issues on a global scale. There are only a handful of countries in the world that have.
That is true. And India is one of them.
Both the economic and diplomatic power to be influential on strategic issues from a global perspective. And India is one of them, which is what adds the finishing.
Yeah, and actually, believe it or not, India's, at least their government is actually in very support of what Trump is doing over there in regards to Iran right now, for instance. It's kind of interesting on the geopolitical level of why that is.
Touches on the importance of this strategic alliance. Is we have a strategic alliance between the United States and India. It's a strategic alliance between two countries that have global influence and the ability to influence global events. And that distinguishes it from other relationships. And so that's why this is an important visit to be here today. It's why we hope that later this year, the Prime Minister will visit us in Washington. It's why I hope our leaders will have a chance to interact in other forums. And I also want to thank you, by the way, for hosting the latest meeting of the foreign ministers of the Quad, which will be happening.
That's exactly correct, Steve Easy. It's kind of weird. They're putting their differences aside regards to, BRICS nation compared to now us. They put that aside for this kind of thing, which is why he was saying a strategic partnership, not just a partnership, strategic partnership.
The day after tomorrow, I believe, right? Day after tomorrow. Another important mechanism and of joint cooperation. And one more example of our strategic relationship between our two countries, because that Quad is a form of alignment between four countries who are not just strategically aligned on a bunch of key issues, but four countries that have the ability to varying degrees to influence global events on these topics of mutual interest. So there's a lot of details and things we can talk about. I didn't mention energy, but we also are strategically aligned on energy. Energy and the ability to generate power is the key behind all of the great industries out there. Whether it's data centers, whether it's artificial intelligence, whether it's the ability to modernize and continue to advance economically, all of it begins and ends with the ability to generate the power necessary, not just
which truly is actually oil, and we don't align on the oil trade front.
To raise standards of living, but beyond that, to expand into new industries. And both of our countries are strategically aligned in ensuring that we have a world that can not just produce, but deliver the energy resources that are necessary to power a modern economy. So I'm not given the breadth and scope of areas of alignment. One visit alone will never solve or be able to address all of these. But this continuing dialogue and engagement between our countries is important. Because, as I said, I think it's not just evidence of the importance of our strategic alliance, but it's necessary in order to continue to advance on all of these topics. So thank you for your warm welcome. Thank you all for covering these events here today. And I look forward to returning many times. 4 days for a country of this size, of this beauty, and of this diversity, and all the things you have to show us. We can't possibly see it all in 4 days. But we're going to try, or we're going to die trying, because it's a pretty packed schedule. And I appreciate everything you facilitated for us in our time here together. Thank you.
We're listening in here to a joint press conference that was held earlier this Sunday featuring Secretary of State Marco Rubio and his counterpart, as Secretary Rubio is in India to meet with several officials and also attend several more events later on today. We're going to step away for a quick commercial break. But
no, we're not. So what I do want to see is if we get a translation here. Let me just hear and see.
So for us...
Oh, wow. Okay, well... Oh yeah, I'm thinking of a whole different fucking country right there. I don't know why I did that. Anyway,
Gulf, the conflict which is going on. But look, India would be one of the very few countries who has very good relations, very strong relations with the United States, with Israel, with Iran, and with the Gulf countries. So we have, and we have real interest there.
He's got a little bit of that S whistle, when people put that little whistle at the end of their S's, it's kind of a Southern thing, I guess.
So For us,
At least in the United States, you know what I mean?
the challenge in this situation is how to maintain
And good morning, Dragon Classy. Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
all these relationships, how to protect our equities, how to advance our interests. And we don't look at it as a zero-sum game. You know, we have to manage and actually take care of all these accounts. So having said that, I would say there are some general principles by which we would approach this region. Obviously, we want peace and stability in the region. Two, for us, the welfare, the well-being of the diaspora is crucial. Three, we want to see energy prices go down because we are a very big importer of energy and much of it comes from that region. Four, as I stated in my remarks, we very much are in favor of safe and unimpeded maritime commerce through the region. And what we want to see is really the markets open up there. We don't want to see constraints. So these would be the principles with which we would approach that region. And you know, in a way, of course, every situation is unique. But I think we will find increasingly in the world that there will be conflicts or difficult situations where India, because our interests are growing, we have relationships with.
Is that what the what that is actually called? That's called a shoe whistle? No way.
All the parties involved. I mean, we are seeing this in the Ukraine conflict as well, where we have, you know, very strong relations with Russia. We have it with Europe. We have it with Ukraine as well. We have it with the United States. And then the question is, how do you manage them, all of them? So in that sense, yes, it is multi-alignment because today's India has that range of interests which require us to manage multiple accounts.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if you allow, we can take a group of questions together. Sure. That way we'll be able to cover more.
We'll take one or two. One or two questions.
Hi, sir. I'm Siddhant from Vion. To Secretary Rubio, my question is on technological partnership. How do you see India as a trusted technological partner? The second question is on energy and critical minerals. Once your visit is over, what will be the key outcomes when it comes to these two aspects? And thirdly, there have been a lot of racist comments coming from United States against Indians, Indian Americans. Now, this goes against the basic premise of India-US relationship. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. What's your third question?
On a lot of comments, racist comments coming from US.
Racist comments.
That, of
well,
course,
who made those comments?
We all have seen those comments, sir. We have seen.
He's talking about the general public. You know, he's not talking about governmental officials. He's talking about the people.
Endorsement of those comments.
Which ones? I'm.
So it's well known, sir.
Anyway,
yeah.
We
and to EM Jaishankar, my question is in terms of the energy partnership. We
See,
know
this is why this guy. It was lame that he asked 3 questions. Honestly, ask a question, not 2 questions, or 3, and this motherfucker throws in 3.
that we are importing LNG, we are importing crude from United States, but there is a choke point at the Hormuz. So, what is the future strategy when it comes to cooperation with the United States?
We go there.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Great to see you in the chat, there, Straight Jagger.
Side Sean from AFP. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I wanted to ask you about the latest on Iran. The president said yesterday the final details have been worked out on Iran deal. Can you tell us what the status is now? As you said many times, it should go back to the status quo ante on the Strait of Hormuz. Are you confident that this deal would do that? And then taking a step back, we've seen from this war, if it's going back to the Strait of Hormuz, we've seen thousands of people dead in Iran and elsewhere. We've seen billions of dollars spent. We've seen some alliances rattled by this, global energy prices rising, global economic shocks. Was this war worth it? And to the External Affairs Minister, you mentioned at the beginning the strategic convergence. Can I just ask you about the Iran war in particular? Was that did that meet the interests of India and also the role of Pakistan? Pakistan's playing a very strong role with the United States right now. Does India have any concerns about that? Thanks very much.
Thank you. We'll take one more question from this side. Vega from WSJ.
Thank you. Secretary Rubio, some of Trump's own allies, Mike Pompeo, Lindsey Graham, and Ted Cruz, are warning that the deal that is taking shape could give Iran access to more money while leaving it with leverage over Hormuz and deferring the nuclear issue. Are they wrong on that? And for the minister, has the Trump administration shown the same commitment and investment in the Quad as the previous U.S. administration? And what concrete outcomes are you hoping to see beyond statements of support?
So we can take these questions.
All right. Do I go first? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how to address that, but I'll take that very seriously about the comments. Look, I'm sure that there are people that have made comments online and other places because every country in the world has stupid people. I'm sure there's stupid people here. There's stupid people in the United States.
Oh, you just took a little bit of a Trump note right there. You took that one from Trump. That's true, though. Now, he's very true. And he's right about that, but, well, I don't think all racist people are stupid, though, so anyways.
Take that very seriously about the
I
comments.
think it's funny.
I'm sure that there are people that have made comments online and other places because every country in the world has stupid people. I'm sure there's stupid people here. There's stupid people in the United States that make dumb comments all the time. I don't know what else to tell you other than the United States is a very welcoming country. Our nation has been enriched by people who come to our country, have come from our country from all over the world, have become Americans, have assimilated into our way of life, and have contributed greatly. So that's all I can comment on that in regards to your
stupid
point. Your second question, there's another question about technology cooperation. Absolutely. One of the reasons why we're such strong strategic allies is because India is a place that's very advanced technologically. You have companies that are on the leading edge of technology in a variety of fields, and you happen to be our ally in terms of country to country. So it is an area of tremendous partnership. It speaks directly to the point that I made a moment ago, and that is you can have an alliance.
What's up, Tootie? Good morning.
We have, we work with countries all over the world on a variety of issues, but there are only a handful of countries in the world where you can actually partner to influence global outcomes. And so India is one of those countries, which is the reason why our strategic alliance is so critical. It's a strategic alliance between
Well, yeah, I mean, they're a nuclear power as well.
two highly capable partners who have industries within our country, private industries within our countries that are on the leading edge of some of the top technologies of the 21st century. So it makes all the sense in the world. Two democracies with a lot of pre-existing links with companies that are on the leading edge of cutting-edge 21st century technologies, partnering together to make sure that those technologies are not just developing and continuing to lead the world in innovation, but are doing so in a way that furthers our national interest. So that is on that point.
Hell yeah, appreciate that, Rudy, for sending that gold coin in on the vertical side. I think yes, vertical side. Thank you very much for
Iran
that.
situation. There'll be, I believe, maybe more news coming out a little bit later today on this topic, and I'll leave it to the president to make further announcements on it. Suffice it to say that some progress has been made, significant progress, although not final progress has been made. Ultimately, I remind everybody, I think this ties into the second question that was asked with relations to it. What is the goal here? The goal here ultimately, the ultimate goal is that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Iran can never possess a nuclear weapon. The president has been clear about that. They will never possess a nuclear weapon, certainly not as long as Donald Trump is president of the United States. Related to that is this issue of the straits. Okay, this is an international waterway. They don't own it. It's an international waterway. And what they are doing now is basically they are threatening to destroy commercial vessels using an international waterway. That is illegal under any concept of international law that governs us. But it's also if we allowed that to become normal, we would be normalizing an unacceptable status quo and setting a dangerous precedent that could be replicated here in this region and in multiple places around the world. So the desire the president has, his preference, is to find a diplomatic way that these problems can be solved. That's always the president's preference. He would much rather have me and the Department of State solve this problem than the Department of War having to solve this problem. But the problem is going to be solved one way or the other. So we've made some progress over the last 48 hours working with our partners in the Gulf region on an outline that could ultimately, if it succeeds, leave us not just with a completely open straits, and I mean open straits without tolls, and with addressing some of the key things that underpin what has been Iran's nuclear weapons ambitions in the past. So we think we've made some progress on the outline of something that, if it works, could give us that outcome. Obviously, that will require full Iranian acceptance and then compliance, and it will require some future work on negotiating the details. When you're talking about a nuclear program, as an example, these are highly technical matters and ones that would probably need to be addressed over some period of time. On the issue of benefits that they could get from it and whatever domestic criticisms there may be, I don't think anyone's been tougher on the Iranian nuclear ambition than President Trump. Understand, okay? Again, I don't know what some of these individual comments have been from different sectors of our politics in the United States, but I will say this: there is no one who has been stronger on this issue than President Trump. Okay? Multiple political leaders, multiple presidents of the United States have all said the same thing: Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. The only one who's tried to do anything and has actually done anything about it in a real way has been President Trump. So his commitment to that principle that they'll never have a nuclear weapon shouldn't be questioned by anybody. And the idea that somehow this president, given everything he's already proven he's willing to do, is going to somehow agree to a deal that ultimately winds up putting Iran in a stronger position when it comes to nuclear ambitions is absurd. That's just not going to happen. But our preference is to address this through a diplomatic means.
Real quick, we got Straight Jacket sending in $1 on the Cash App saying, India is the best. India is the best. Appreciate the dollar, my man.
And that's what we're endeavoring to do here. I think we've made some progress. I'm always cautious when I say that because you can agree to things on paper. They actually have to be implemented.
And he also sent another $1 in saying Steve ain't allowed near schools. Oh, come on, man.
Agree to things in writing, and then you actually have to go out and do it. And but I do think perhaps there is the possibility that over the next few hours, the world will get some good news, at least with regards to the Straits and with regards to a process that can ultimately leave us where the president wants us to be, and that is a world that no longer has to be in fear or worry about an Iranian nuclear weapon. And so I do think there's some good news on that front, but not final news on that front. But perhaps a little bit later today we'll have more to say. But you know, some progress has been made. I don't want to downplay that, but I also want to caveat it by saying we still have some work to do. We'll see.
We're continuing to listen in here to a joint press.
Nope, that is it. We're going to go ahead and move on. So over there in California, I'm trying to remember exactly where it's at. I can't remember if it's like Westminster. It's something like that. But nonetheless, we'll know here in a minute. Nonetheless, damaged California chemical tank has potential crack and could, quote, relieve pressure. But I from the reports I've heard is that they went and inspected the tank and they did see that there was already a crack in the tank, obviously. And they're saying at bare minimum, no matter what, this tank is going to fail. But how large of an explosion it could be, it could go all the way up to where we need to evacuate 40,000 people worth of people in that area because of the potential of what it could do. Also, let's see, Straight Jacket sends another $1 in, says, new dudes in the chat eat corn the long way. Shit, man. Shit. New dudes in the chat eat corn the long way. There we go.
All right, we're continuing to follow the latest out of Southern California as a damaged chemical tank in Southern California may have cracked, potentially lowering the risk of a major explosion, though an evacuation order still remains in effect for some 50,000 area residents with no timeline on when they can return home. The interim fire chief of the Orange County Fire Authority, TJ McGovern, said in a video posted on social media that fire officials were able to evaluate
That's what it was.
more closely last
Thank
night.
you. I knew it was in somewhat of the area. Yeah, Orange County, California, but Garden Grove. Yes, thank you for that.
A potential crack, as these are some images that we're getting in.
I couldn't remember.
He cautioned, though, that the information is still being vetted and validated. The Orange County Fire Authority captain told the Associated Press earlier on Sunday that it does not appear that any of the highly volatile chemicals in the tank have leaked. Let's take you out to some of these comments from Southern California today.
I'm TJ McGovern, interim fire chief for the Orange County Fire Authority, and I want to give you a quick update of an operation that we did last night. Yesterday, we built a specialized team with subject matter experts. We developed a plan to go do an operation last night, late night, to go get eyes and do a recon mission on the tank. During that operation, our firefighters went in and they were able to visualize the tank. What they found was a potential crack in the tank, which could potentially be relieving some of the pressure in there. We took that information. We got down.
Okay, that's why they're saying it. So, yes, it potentially could relieve pressure. Sure, it's heating up. They can't. The problem with this exact thing is that unfortunately, they're not able to regulate the temperature correctly right now for whatever reason. I don't know, but the tank, the highest reading on the actual meter itself is 100 degrees, right? And for some reason, they cannot bring it down. And so right now it's way overheated. It's so the potential of this flammable shit. I forget what the exact name is of that. What's in the exact tank, but it's flammable and obviously can explode. So
on it. And right now this morning, what we're doing is we are vetting and validating that information. With this new information, it could change our trajectory and our strategy to this event.
Oh, yeah, that's very true. We are in overtime. We're well into overtime already, and we still got 1, 2, 3 stories to go after this. Holy shit. Yes, you know what they say about, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. And get your donos in, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely appreciate it.
Last night was a successful operation for this emerging incident and this ongoing incident. There's going to be a lot more information coming today as we sit here right now and vet and validate all that information that we got last night. I want to thank the public for their patience. I know this is a disruption. Your protection, your life safety is our paramount responsibility right now. We know you're out of your homes. We want to get you back, but we cannot do that until it's deemed safe. But I want to reiterate, last night, this operation that we did gave us...
it's a lot of people that had to leave. It was 40,000 people they told that you have to get out of this area.
positive intel to make educated decisions today in the positive light. We're not there yet, but this was a step in a right direction, and there's going to be a lot more coming shortly. Thank you.
All right, just listening in to Orange County officials talking about this.
Okay, so I'll tell you what it is in it. I just won't be able to say it correctly, okay? So I'm scrolling down. You can see here. Let me see if I can actually make the text bigger for you. All right, here we go. I know it said it in. Oh, here it is. That's where a 34,000-gallon storage tank containing methyl methacrylate, which is MMA, a toxic, highly flammable liquid chemical used to manufacture acrylic plastics, became severely overheated. Okay, let me go ahead and bring this back to normal. Okay, here we go.
Pressurized tank. They overheated on Thursday, began venting vapors at a company site in Garden Grove, about 40 miles south of downtown Los Angeles. No injuries were reported. Air monitoring tests so far found that air pollution around the evacuation zone is so far within normal limits, and specialized equipment has been deployed to ensure no gas is released from the compromised tank. But potentially a crack is something that we're following in terms of this, as they talk about the evacuation order for from 50,000 residents. We're also hearing from different individuals, including the AG, the Attorney General in California, Rob Bonta, saying, amid the developing situation in Orange County, I urge residents in the impacted area to stay alert, follow all evacuation orders immediately, and monitor official channels for critical updates. If you see price gouging, I encourage you to immediately file a complaint with my office online.
Wow.
Or at that, and contact your local police department or sheriff.
Good on them, Rob Bonta here, for saying that. That's pretty radical. If you see price gouging, he says, like, basically from like hotels or whatever, I encourage you to immediately file a complaint with my office online. Boom. Wow. All right. So let's go ahead and move on into, we have two actual updates from the Middle East. I'm actually going to skip that middle one. So first, let's go into viral teen takeovers spark chaos nationwide. A dangerous new TikTok trend called, quote, teen takeovers is prompting strict law enforcement action across cities in the United States. I swear, man, all these like stupid TikTok trends and TikTok challenges, it's insane anybody actually like does that shit. That is to this kind of level. But nonetheless, real quick, let's get the money part over with. We haven't done it yet, and we are in over.
Just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Actual factuals. All right, here we go. Let me go and bring this up before we get into Iran.
Welcome back into Live Now from Fox. We want to shift gears here a bit and talk about some of the trends that we're seeing across the country here. I do want to bring this up on your screen here. And what you're looking at is this viral teen takeover movement here that we are seeing across the country. And I just want to give you a little bit of background of what we're seeing, as from upscale waterfront neighborhoods to malls, parks, and packed restaurants, viral teen takeovers are erupting across the country, with police responding to fights, robberies, vandalism, and gunfire as massive crowds of juveniles overwhelm public spaces. And you can see there, we have 4 boxes there of these teen takeovers in Chicago, Florida, Washington, D.C., and Atlanta, Georgia. So what we want to do now is bring in our next guest onto the program.
Look at that chaos.
Michael Bowles, who is the founder of the NYPD K-9 unit and a former...
So one is in Chicago, obviously, one's in Brandon, Florida, one's in Washington, D.C., and one's in Atlanta. At least what they're covering on here. It could be more, obviously.
NYPD officer. Michael, thank you so much for joining us here today. So talk to us a little bit about the difficulties here that law enforcement officers experience when it comes to trying to deal.
Well, the first question you should talk about right there is like, what's going on with this challenge or whatever this trend is? What is this trend right now? Why is that happening?
With a large crowds of juveniles like
or
some
what
of these
is
that we've
it?
seen on the screen here.
Yeah, certainly. So thanks for having me, Bowen. So this is nothing new. Urban teenage violence, teenage rebellion is part of the fabric of our society. We all, to some degree, rebelled when we were teenagers. This, of course, is taken to another level. But nothing new. In the 80s, I was a member of the NYPD, and there was a phenomenon called wilding. Wilding meant gangs of teenagers.
Oh, shit. Real quick. We got Brother Straight Jacket coming in with $5 on the Cash App saying, show the nub today. So I don't know why you want to send $5 to see a leg, but I'll give it to you. You know, hey, $5, $5. And then you send in another 5 spot and saying just the tip. Shit. Thank you very much for making it rain in the Cash App. I very much appreciate that. I think that's $12 now. Appreciate it.
Teenagers spontaneously went on sprees of violence, mugging people in Central Park through the theater district, unannounced and very spontaneous. It's difficult because teenagers are generally not held to the same standards as adults. So they're treated completely different by the criminal justice system. In fact, there's a separate system. There's a juvenile justice system. So it's very difficult. So nothing really happens. There's no consequence. And we live in a very permissive society now. So it's a very difficult problem. And as the summer approaches, it's going to continue.
So what role do we see social
what are they
media
just
play
beating?
when it comes
Just beating the shit out of people over there? What are they doing?
to these takeovers? And what sort of does that
Like taking over what? It's not even like a street, like what is it? What kind of takeover is it? You just go around just beating people up or what?
really prove it to be more difficult
I don't
for
get it.
officers, or does that help to maybe track down a location that it might spark at and kind of nip it before it happens?
Right. So it's a double-edged sword. So law enforcement does have the intel of searching social media, but these things happen so rapidly. Law enforcement just don't have the resources to deal with these types of things. When you look at these are hundreds of kids, maybe 20 cops, and they can't really be arrested. They're not detained in the same way as an adult would be. They're just turned over to their parents, to the custody of their parents, or to a guardian. So they never interact with adult prisoners or adult arrestees, I should say. So it's a tremendous problem. And as I said, the summer triggers all this thing, permissiveness, parents not taking responsibility. So it's a societal problem that's existed before, but social media certainly adds fuel to the fire. for
Absolutely.
sure.
All right. Sounds like we're not going to get. Oh, wait. I want to see what Sheriff Judd has to say here.
On this here real quick.
But I'll guarantee you, they start cutting the fool, tearing up people's businesses, fighting in the streets. We're going to lock them up, all of them. And then, mom and daddy, if you don't hold them accountable personally, make sure they're home when they need to be, then we're going to come lock you up too.
Shit.
Bruh.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That motherfucker crazy. Dude.
Listening to the sheriff there, or could we possibly see any sort of repercussions when it comes to parents of these kids that are out and about with these takeovers?
Yeah, certainly. So the sheriff is right. It's a little tough talk because the reality is police can arrest everybody that crosses the sidewalk illegally. But if the prosecutor and the judge...
That's actually not true. I mean, well, they do, but theoretically they're not supposed to be able to do that.
Don't
But
do
yeah,
any type of formal sentencing and holding them accountable. Of course, so logically, the parents will be accountable civilly for sure, because kids have no money. So they have nothing there's no consequence, as I said. So the sheriff is right. Parents should be held responsible.
yeah, I do agree with that. All right, let's see if there's any other footage here or reports. No, there is not. All right, let's get into our latest update regards to Iran this morning. All right. It says U.S. and Iran nearing peace deal. President Trump says that he will not, quote, rush into a deal to end the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. Now, he actually said that, I think, on Saturday night, if not Sunday. But nonetheless, that quote, he was not going to rush into a deal, happened yesterday or the day before. But this is the latest report that we do have on this. I wish that there was more in the description there, but there wasn't. Let's go and bring this up. Here we go.
Welcome into Live Now from Fox. My name is Bowen Kadrovich, and thank you for being with me here on this Memorial Day as we remember those who lost their lives serving this country so we can enjoy the freedoms here in America every day. And I will be with you here for the next couple of hours as we track the top stories across the country as well as across the world. And thank you to Adam Lorenz for doing the same here just a few hours ago. Now, there's a lot to get to today. We have Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He is over in India speaking with leaders there in India when it comes to a lot with trade discussions, as well as there were some issues or tensions rather when it came to tariffs between the United States and India. We also have Pope Leo giving his encyclical today as well. So a lot going on early on this morning, but what we want to start out with first here is the latest with the developments that we are getting with that conflict over in the Middle East between the United States and Iran. We do want to bring this X post up here, courtesy of Fox News. This says President Trump says critics are attacking an Iran deal that, quote, isn't even fully negotiated yet. In a lengthy statement, Trump defended ongoing talks while sharply criticizing the Obama administration's nuclear agreement with Tehran, claiming it handed Iran Iran, quote, massive amounts of cash and enabled its nuclear ambitions. If I make a deal with Iran, it will be a good and proper one, Trump wrote before insisting, I don't make bad deals. The statement comes as the White House continues negotiations amid mounting pressure over Iran's nuclear program. So there's a lot to get to in terms of news.
What's up, 2-4? Good morning to you. Great to see you in the chat, and happy Memorial Day.
And developments when it comes to Iran and the United States. So what we want to do now is bring in Dr. Asaf Ramarowski, the Executive Director for Scholars for Peace in the Middle East, back onto the program. Dr. Asaf, thanks as always.
Man, I always appreciate Dr. Asaf. He's my second most favorite, analyst in the game.
Coming on here. Now, the framework agreement with Iran is 95% there, officials said, through negotiators were haggling over language detailing Tehran's nuclear stockpile and the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the Iranian president claimed that Iran is not seeking nuclear weapons, but can they be trusted with a nuclear stockpile?
Good morning, as always. First of all, the short answer is no. I mean, Iran has a long pattern of behavior.
What's up, Morto? Great to see you in the chat, by the way. Good morning.
Of lying, of delaying, and if Iran has the capability, Iran will use it. The highly enriched uranium that we're talking about equivalent to about 445 or so kilograms. It's about 1,000 plus pounds. The estimations, even according to the United Nations, according to the IAEA, that much of this is being still hidden underground under Ifshah's, and some of the other facilities, some of the other facilities that were bombed back in June. And so there is still, a significant amount of uranium there. And that highly enriched uranium is basically 60% weapons grade, which brings us to 90%.
Right. So actual weapons grade, nuclear weapons grade is 90%. So the reason why that they're at 60% is actually because they're using it as a negotiation tactic. There's a reason why they keep, enriching until 60 and then they hold off at 60. It's a negotiation tactic.
Of what they can do vis-a-vis the bomb. It's really a technical step, for moving ahead to an actual bomb itself. The United States should not be willing to live with that. And for that matter, neither are our allies. I mean, the Israelis have been 100% clear about this, according to Netanyahu's statement, that they will not live with in Iran that has the capability.
That's true. 60% will make a dirty bomb.
Of highly enriched uranium. And so that's there. And for that matter, the Gulf as well. So I think that we are, Iran has used these 6 weeks to basically delay. This is what they do. And in the interim, they have been rearming, regrouping. I mean, we know that some of the potential armaments that are coming in from Russia. Some of the surveillance is coming in from China. You and I have discussed this over the past few weeks. And so I have no doubt that they are planning. And so they're playing games and trying to stall. To the end, and to the comment that you posted, the modality and the pattern of behavior for the Iranians is the Obama deal. I mean, the JCPOA, from their perspective, was a phenomenal success story. The idea of that we want, obviously, Iran has been crippled economically vis-a-vis the Straits of Hormuz. The main two sticking points to your earlier point is, of course, the Straits and the highly enriched uranium. If those two elements, of the deal are not on the table, then there is no deal. I mean, it was a little bit, I think that the concern that some of us watching all of this had yesterday was that there were rumors that there was going to be a deal signed yesterday, or there was an immediacy to have a deal. Then the president backed off saying,
yes, that's originally what I heard yesterday, is that, we might actually be getting a deal maybe even today. And but it's not, but it's looking like it's looking somewhat promising that we could be going into a deal, which would be great. That would be phenomenal. I hope that does happen, actually.
There was no rush, and basically giving the impression, at least, on the face of it, that there's still that, they're not going to rush into a bad deal, which is what led to the posting that you put up before. I hope that that's the case. I think that we should not be rushing into a deal, and a bad deal with Iran, as we've known, can lead to further bad things. And so from my perspective, we need to squeeze the Iranians as far as possible, and if need be, resume military operations.
And you just said there moments ago how that deal was almost inching closer, and not to rush into it. We have this expose here from Bloomberg that says the U.S. and Iran are closing in on a deal that would reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Senior U.S. officials said Sunday, even as President Donald Trump insisted he would not rush into an agreement. In your assessment, why is it important not to rush into anything right now and really be strategic here when it comes to making a deal? As we know that there's going to be a lot of pressure with a lot of other countries that rely on the Strait. In your assessment, why not? Why is it best to take it more easy and really be strategic about this?
Look, if you saw some of the commenters that came out yesterday on the Sunday morning shows coming out of the Democrats and the progressives, they're, of course, very excited about the fact, who, of course, did not believe and support Trump's action to begin with vis-a-vis the war itself, and are looking for a way out. The fact of the matter is, in a myopic, I would argue fallacious way, purely looking at this entire architecture from an economic standpoint is foolish. I mean, the fact of the matter is that the market, of course, there are consequences that, that the conflict itself, that the war itself has reverberated onto the market itself as far as gas prices. That's for sure the case, but that's not the reason why we're in Iran. And I think the fact of the matter is we need to understand that we've been fighting this Islamic totalitarian regime for over 4 decades. They have the capabilities. They have a terroristic agenda. They have authoritarian agenda of how they've been managed. And rushing into an agreement will only prolong us, from finishing the job. And again, if we don't finish the job properly, we're going to be back in it months and years from now. And again, the other point that I did not mention yet, which is of course critical to understand. If the regime is still intact at the end of all of this, then what have we done? I mean, the fact of the matter is that this regime, which
well, yeah, I mean, that's why the original operation on Iran, when we initiated this war here, not the 12-day war, but this war here, well, I'm whatever. I'm not even going to get into it. I'll just say
they have been abusing and using their own people. They've been the one who are selling the agenda all around, and not to mention the fact that the IRGC and the Ayatollahs still have this long reach as far as long potential objectives vis-a-vis the anti-Americanism.
What I was getting at is that we only got 1 out of 4 of the objectives that we actually wanted out of that whole operation. But that's basically what I was going to get at there.
Anti-Semitism, then that will continue. And so unless we are decapitating the regime itself, including the capabilities. And so we're talking about here 2 different elements of the tactical capability, the military capability itself, and what they can and can't do. And so all of this needs to change. And then, of course, you can't, ignore the political reality of Iran today. And so Iran is indeed suffering economically. The people are suffering all along as a result of this regime. If they are still in office at the end of the day, then the regime wins, which is exactly what they want to do, which is exactly why they're trying to buy time. And this ongoing kind of game that's going on.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it on this one, Steve Easy, for sure. Now, and believe it or not, I like this dude. He's done actually a very good job of reporting on, like, for instance, like Syria, a lot of the Middle East that you were there watching it with me, and he was very objective on a lot of these things. And we haven't seen him we haven't seen him much at all during this war. And so it's interesting to hear his take, and he is definitely sounding that way.
Interlocutors vis-a-vis Pakistan or China or anybody else involved in trying to put pressure on the Iranians. From their perspective, any deal would be a good deal because they're looking also for sanctions relief in the tone of billions of dollars, and they're looking to make money off of this to try to get from their narrative. They are owed anything that they are deserved to them, and they are not. They wash their hands of any kind of responsibility of putting them into this situation. When the fact of the matter is, we should not forget that they're the ones who started this war 47 years ago, and they've been the one responsible for.
Well, that's been one of the arguments for a lot of people, not just analysts, but just people themselves, saying, well, we should have been doing this, should have been handled 47 years ago, kind of thing. But it wasn't. Right. So anyways, this coming out from Secretary Rubio, Iran is threatening to destroy commercial vessels using an international waterway. If we allowed that to become normal, we'd be normalizing an unacceptable status quo and setting a dangerous precedent that can be replicated in this region and around the world, which he is right about. I mean, real quick, let me bring up the maritime vessel traffic for the new viewers here. The one thing that I will show here is this. Okay. So this is the Strait of Hormuz, as like everybody knows. This is the actual maritime traffic though. Okay. So what he's getting at, what Marco Rubio was getting at there, is that there's multiple straits in the world that are used on a global economy level. Many straits. There's a strait right here. As you guys can see, this is down by Yemen. And as you guys also know, the Yemen Houthi rebels run this area. And there was even threats that they were going to shut down this shipping lane right here, which is through this strait by Yemen. That was interesting because we were all expecting that these guys were going to do it. They were like that there was going to be the Strait of Hormuz shut down, and then this one was going to shut down too. And remember, shutting down straits doesn't mean you have to actually do anything. Actually, it's just the fear factor of like, hey, you know, if you do, and let's just say one attempts it, well, it doesn't cost a lot of money just to have, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drones swing into that ship and make an example. And they all they have to say is that there are mines dropped in the strait or whatever. And then you're going to have ship, not only ship captains, but ship owners, insurance companies of the cargo. They're going to say, no matter what, you're not to be going through that until this shit gets cleared. We're not risking it. So you got to remember how it is on a psychological level rather than an actual enforcement level. Okay, that's what makes this so difficult. Anyways, but there's many straits around the world, and it's important that these waterways are, of course, open to international. I mean, these are all international waterways, right? So, anyways. Listen, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough. You guys always show so much immense love and support for the channel. I'm very honored with that. Listen, we're going to be back tomorrow morning for more of the World's Madness. Thank you all that support the show Monday through Friday, as well as Saturday morning for members only. We always have a good time, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button on your way in or way out, whatever, and double tap that screen. Always appreciate it. And listen, we'll be back very soon. Stick around for the raid. We're going to be raiding our buddy Rob Knorr. He's a great political commentator. Make sure you guys go over there and let him know we're coming through with the Mike Balls / Insane Wheels raid. All right. Until tomorrow morning. God bless everyone. We'll see you guys very soon. Be safe out there. Much love. Happy Memorial Day as well.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart of steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on 2 wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the